Hello and welcome along to the start of Season 5 of this FM20 story, A Wandering Dork with me, Daniel. It's Season 5, Episode 1, and today we've got a proper transfer special. No need for us to show any game action today, as we've had a massive summer off the pitch. We've got loads of players coming in and a few more that may yet get over the line. Just 4 days left of the window remaining. We're going to be working very hard after the season starts. We've got a game against Salford to worry about, and that'll come in the first episode of the new year. It'll be on Friday because we've got a channel update tomorrow before we return to our normal Football Manager schedule. But we're going to go through all the transfers today, plenty going in and out of the club. You can already see a few names in the manager performance on the home screen and a few that you may have found dotted around elsewhere. But we're going to go through all of the names and meet all the new signings and look at the ones that may yet be joining them. But firstly, a massive thank you to everyone who continues to follow the series and the channel in general. I really do appreciate it greatly. As I just mentioned, there will be a channel update tomorrow where we reflect on the last year and talk about our plans for 2020. And all being well, it may be the debut of the camera as well, so you might get to see my face in a corner of the screen for the first time. But even more important is we're going to talk about these two saves and what we intend to achieve over the next few months. We're really starting to make good progress with Dorking, and I'm hoping we can have a good strong season this time. But if you are enjoying this series and looking forward to another season, please do put a thumbs up on the video. It really does make such a difference to the performance and I can't thank you enough for supporting it. And if you're new to the channel, then subscribe for daily FM20 content from this one with Dorking Wanderers and our other series, The Head Coach, as well. I know a few of you have already asked when the face reveal's coming, so if you head over to our podcast matchday vlogs, I'll put a link in the eye above. You can see me in all my splendour in those ones. We've done a couple already and there's more to come in January next year, so I'm sure you'll see plenty of action with me included. But today we're back for the summer transfer review with Dorking Wanderers. It's a transfer special of sorts. We talked about our plans in the Season 4 review on Sunday, and we talked about the players who we thought would be leaving the club. Probably been a little more of a revolution than we expected, and we've also changed our approach in terms of signings as well. In addition to getting in our usual ones, we've taken a gamble on a few younger ones as well, trying to build them up, send them out on loan, and develop them into first team players to make a profit. It's a bit more similar to what we did with Torquay, although of course they started with far better facilities, but let's not hold it up any longer. Let's go and have a look at our transfer history. So we start on release players and it looks like a massive list, but please don't be concerned by that. It's the first time we've been at a stage where we can release loads of youth players, so only 3 of them are actually first teamers. Sam Ramsbottom wanted to leave. He wasn't happy at being the backup keeper. I don't know why, because he's not got to move elsewhere now. He'd probably even re-sign for us, would he? No, he's not happy to, as he's only just left the club, but Ramsbottom's now clubless as a result. Second was Josh Diurgi. He deserves a mention because he was a real good servant for us. 107 league appearances, 11 goals included in that, and he's got off to a flyer at his new club Shelbourne in the Irish Premier League, really playing well there, earning £400 a week. 1 goal and 1 assist on his first appearance. We'd really like to see him do well in the future. And then third and finally is Jack Broome. He was the young right back we bought in the season before, featured about half the year in our National League winning campaign, didn't really get much of a look in last year, went out on loan to Billericay, he played a full season with them, and now remarkably Sunderland have signed him, maybe just because he's got very high potential, but there's absolutely no chance of him reaching it. So not too much excitement there, just a few leaving the club, but the real excitement is in all transfers. A few more leaving, 1 or 2 for a fee, and then plenty joining the club as well. And we've also got a few in the transfer centre in process, and they could be the most important ones of the summer. But let's start with the players that have left the club. Kevin Kavanagh the first to leave on loan. He's gone to Boston United on a season-long loan deal. They're playing in the National League North at the moment. He's got a decent personality, so he just needs football now, and we'll go and see how he gets on there next year. Then second is Riley Harbottle. He's been sold for £1,000 to Swindon. They're still down in the National League if I'm not mistaken. They're a National League side at the moment. He wasn't quite good enough for League 2 level, and hopefully he'll do well at that standard. Then third was the big money sale of such. Ellis Yandolo, the left winger from last year, came in, was a real disappointment. We moved him on to Wrexham for just under 20 grand. A good way to make a profit, I guess. He was physically declining and not looking great. So again, going to a National League team just shows that none of these players were really good enough. In fact, Wrexham have been promoted to League 2 now, so we will come up against Yandolo this year. Next is Peter Goodwin. He's someone we signed in the summer, one of those young players who we've then loaned out again. Tom Cook falls into that category as well further down, so we'll talk about those two when we get to the ins. But the other two familiar names are Ethan Vaughan, the right back. He's gone to Telford on a season-long loan. As we mentioned in the season review last year, he's made over 100 appearances for us. He's a really really good professional player, but he needs to reach his potential now, and he's only going to get that via first team football. So he's gone to Telford, who I think are in the National League North. They're one of the favourites to win a league this year, and I'm sure he'll go and have a good season for them, and then hopefully make it as a professional player. And then finally is Manny Cook. He's gone on loan to Solihull Moors. His personality's improved slightly, still not good by any means of course, but after 4 appearances for us last season, he really just needs to get some football under his belt. So I'm hoping he'll do well there, only listed as a backup player at Solihull, so it'll be interesting to see how much football he plays and whether he can make an impact at that level. So we've rattled through all the outs quickly, as I know that's the bit everyone's least interested in. We've got to go through this long list of ins, talk about who's going to be the stars or not. We already talked in the end of season review about one disaster we'd had where we paid a fee. That's Rory Feeney, who you recognise from last year. The reason for that, if you missed it, he's got a 5 to 7 month injury. It is now down, he's recovering quite quickly, but physically he's taken a bit of a hit. So he will be our backup right back once he's fit again, and then we'll loan McGowan out in January. But for now, unfortunately, Feeney's out long term, and he's starting to decline as a result of not training. But let's get on to the new signings at the club. Quite a few released from Premier League teams as usual. 1 or 2 of those are going to be stars this year, but the majority have now gone back out on loan. So Max Dodd is the first one. He came in from Arsenal. You can see all of these first 6 were pre-agreed before the window opened. He's come on a free. He's been released by the Premier League club. £300 a week, 2.5 star ability, 5 star potential central midfielder. You can see he's got bids under his name just because he's going out on loan now. That's because of a late signing in the window and one other that may be joining in the next week or so. But Max Dodd, despite a poor personality, has been training in that mentoring group in the summer, and he's still improving in training and doing well, so I'm hoping a season of football will help him out. Loads of clubs in the National League want him to be first choice, and I think he'll make a real impact at non-league level. And second on the list is from the same club, Goodwin, the young right back who came in from Arsenal too. We've already mentioned he's gone out on loan to Torquay, the club we of course manage in our FM19 One Club series. He's a right back, 2.5 star ability, again 5 star potential. For some reason he's awkward in all the attacking midfield 3 positions, not quite sure why that is, but he's not quite as good in terms of technical standards, but he's really good physically. He's a 2-footed fullback, and I think he's got a little bit of potential in him, so we're just going to loan him out to Torquay, see how he gets on this year, and hopefully he'll come back a really good player. Got a driven personality, really working hard in training, so I fancy him to do well at a professional team, and hopefully he'll come back and be ready for first team action, or at least show significant improvement. Worth a load of money if you didn't notice, £115,000. Max Dodd worth slightly less, he's worth just 25 grand. Then third on the list is the first youngster who is going to feature in the first team squad this year. That man is Kane Williams from Manchester City, an 18-year-old centre-half, 2.5 star ability, 5 star potential, only on £240 a week, a slight upgrade on Harbottle and a good replacement as 4th choice. He's just going to be our backup centre-half, and he'll get plenty of games in the leasing.com trophy. Again, determined personality, really good physically, but unfortunately is a little bit aggressive, so I'm a little bit concerned about that for now. We're going to have to be careful that he doesn't get a few too many reds, or he doesn't dive into challenges and give the referee a decision to make. He's not too strong either, but at 18 I think that'll come. He's over 6 foot, so he should bulk up eventually, and we've got him working on that on the training ground. Next up, 4th for the pre-agreed deals, Tom Cook, the first of 2 players to come in from Spurs. As we already know, he's gone back on loan out to Fylde, so we'll talk about that in a bit of detail too. He's a right midfielder, 2.5 star ability, again 5 star potential. At 18, not earning a great deal, Fylde are paying all of his wages this year. A balanced personality, good physically and technically, got all the key attributes to make it as an EFL player, so we're just giving him a chance to develop out on loan, and then maybe we'll be able to turn a profit on him. And then finally of the ins we haven't met yet, of course Feely's the 6th one. 5th was Killian OConnell. He's a new left midfielder, like for like replacement for Yandolo. 2.5 star ability, 4 star potential. Going to be our backup in that position this season. Pretty quick, good crosser and dribbler of the ball. Still room for development at 24 of course. Only earning £500 a week, so saving us a little bit on the wage bill. And released by my beloved Luton Town, so if they picked him he must be a decent player. He's also played for Stevenage, so pretty much all of the clubs local to me, but a decent player, does what it says on the tin. He'll again feature in quite a few cup games, and he'll have the chance to impress as the season goes on, so hopefully he'll be able to spring a surprise. Then next on to the players that have joined during the window, 6 more of them so far already, all on free transfers, and now we're working on the loan market, so 2 or 3 bits of gold dust we're looking to add on. First of the 6 signings is David Parkhouse. He came on a free transfer having been released. He was at Sheffield United until until this summer. A big target man, exactly what we wanted. Doesn't weigh anything, which is really strange. 6'2", but only about 65 kilos. Really hasn't got much presence at all. But despite that 14 marking for strength, really good in the air too. And I think he's going to be a good target man for us. A young Northern Irishman with plenty of experience at under 21 international level. Really good player, just 625 quid a week. He's on 2.5 star ability, 4 star potential, and I think with his personality, he's probably going to improve quite quickly. He's made just the one appearance for Sheffield United, scored a few goals over in Derry in Ireland, so he's got the potential. It's just whether he can turn it on this season, and he's a natural penalty taker too, so hopefully that will keep his confidence up with goals. Then next on the list is James Simpson, possibly the most exciting one of the summer so far. A right back signed from Tottenham, the second man to join from that club. Again, a free agent deal in the summer. A really good young right back, 3.5 star ability, 5 star potential. Physically strong across the board, mentally quite good for a player of his age, and technically he's got all the key attributes too. Just a really well-rounded fullback. Can play in loads of different positions, still only 19 years of age of course too, and on 600 quid a week it's an absolute steal, and certainly one worth taking a risk on. So he's an upgrade on Ethan Vaughan, still got Paul McGowan here if we need him, and then once Rory Feeney's back he can take over if it's a disaster, but I've got a feeling this kid's going to be special. So we'll see how he gets on. We've given him a 2-year deal for now, and we've got the option to extend that by another one, so I think he could be staying here pretty long term. And then just in front of him will be Ryan Broome. We started to work on getting a bit of experience at this point. He comes from Cheltenham on a free transfer this summer, having got plenty of experience at this level in the past. Been playing in League 2 regularly for the last 5 years, doing a really solid job at Cheltenham actually. As you can see, he's a wing-back, midfielder and attacking winger on the right-hand side, can even play as a number 10 as well. Just a really solid player in terms of attributes, 3 star ability, 3 star potential, runs with the ball down the right, gets forward whenever possible, and he's just got all of the attributes we want. Get it wide and get the ball in the box. He's also pitched in with a few goals at former clubs. He's training well, so my hopes are pretty high, and at 26 he's certainly in the peak of his career, and I'm hoping he'll be able to produce strong performances. On to the final 3, and first is the man who will play on the other side of the pitch, Callum Harriett, an experienced left winger, a 29-year-old Guyanese international, £1,800 a week, played for Colchester, Reading, Charlton if I remember rightly in the past as well, got plenty of EFL experience throughout his career, been playing in League 2 the last couple of seasons, in League 1 and the Championship before that as well. Just a really solid player, 3 star ability, and on 1,800 a week, I'm expecting him to produce a bit of fireworks. He's got all the technical attributes, still really quick off the mark as well, and he's got that personality that suits our team, works hard and gives absolutely everything. Again, someone who's pitched in with a few goals at former clubs, and that's something I've looked at when signing him, so I'm hoping he'll be able to make a real impact, and even if he fails we should be able to sell him. On to the penultimate deal then, and it's a goalkeeper in Ryan Hart. I'm a little bit upset by this one. What I will go and do first is show you my first choice, who ended up rejecting us to go to Grimsby, and that's the former Nottingham Forest man Dimitar Mitov. You can see he's a really solid keeper across the board, would have been a star at League 2 level. He's a Bulgarian international of course, and he's accepted a deal at Grimsby earning less money just because they're a higher reputation side. We must finish above Grimsby, and it'd be nice if we could be above Cambridge too. They're the club that released him after 4 seasons as first choice in League 2, but unfortunately he decided to decline us, and you may have realised it's Charlton, not Forest he was released from. I've got my clubs mixed up in red there, but we ended up with Ryan Hart, who's not quite as good, still a very good goalkeeper across the board though. He just lacks a little bit mentally unfortunately, but at 26 there's still a bit of room to improve that. He's considered a very slight upgrade on our last season's goalkeeper Grant Smith, but for now Smith will start the season. We'll probably change it over as the season goes on, as Hart's got a slightly better ability. A really tall goalkeeper as well, good aerial reach, commands his area. It's something we struggled with last year defending set pieces, so I'm hoping he'll be able to make a difference in that regard, although he's not quite as good a shot stopper. If we look at his history, he's been playing in the National League, Bromley's first choice for the last 4 years, and although it's the division below, he hasn't been conceding too many, just over 1 a game as an average, so I'm hoping he'll be able to put in strong performances, having come through the youth team at Arsenal as well. And then last but not least, the most experienced man of them all, 30-year-old central midfielder Matt Dolan, just joined this week so he's nowhere near match fit yet, but a really good experienced professional midfielder, solid in that deep line playmaker role, a natural replacement for Matt Smith, 3-star ability, 3-star potential, but I think he looks slightly better than that. He's got everything we want though, he comes deep to get the ball, switches it to the wide areas, and he likes to shoot from distance, and he's got a decent attribute too, a strong free kick and set piece taker. I think he ticks all of the boxes. He's going to be a star for us at the start of the season, but he may not be first choice for very long, and that's because if we go to the pending transfers, we're finally able to discuss a loan deal for Matt Smith. Derby didn't want him to play with us for most of the summer, having offered him a new 2-year deal. They wanted him to play with higher quality pros, but they've finally changed their mind after those few signings, and now we're bidding to get him back at the club. They want us to pay £2,100 a week, so he would be our highest paid player, but he deserves it. He's a brilliant pro, we know what he does, and we'd love to have him back here for another season. So fingers crossed by the next game we'll have him. We've got a week's rest after this one anyway, so I'm hoping he'll be a Dorking Wanderers player again by episode 3 of this season, and we'll see in 4 or 5 days time if that's the case. I'm really hoping it will be. We've got 2 strikers we're trying to bring in as well. Only one of them will end up joining the club. We're doing scout reports at the same time so we can find out just how good they are, and hopefully one of them will be a major upgrade. We've got Victor Sodiende from Nottingham Forest. I'm attracted to him because he scored for them anyway, and he's got 8 in 19 at Macclesfield. He looks pretty quick and a good finisher, but we're waiting for the scout report to come through. In fact, it's a data analyst report we're going for. We'll add the scout report on now, and hopefully we'll get them by next week as well, just to see which one of these two is best. The same for Russell Robertson from Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Not much in terms of wages at the club, but he's played 62 games for them and scored 15 goals. Scored on loan out at Annan Athletic as well, and looking at his attribute, he looks a good finisher and really quick, so it's only the composure that could possibly let him down. We'll wait and see what that comes back as. But for me, I think a really good summer. We've of course got a few loanees that could yet be leaving the club, but it has been pretty much a big revolution, and you can see the 18 we've picked for the first game of the season. There will be the squad that feature in the next episode on Friday, the first of the new year and the new season on this channel. I'm really looking forward to getting going this year. I think 3 or 4, 5 games to settle in maybe, just get everyone up to match fitness, and we could really start to be a bit of a powerhouse then, providing we can get in Smith and a star striker. As we did last year, we'll try and bed them in gradually, the new signings, so we've got a couple that are sitting on the bench today. Matt Dolan's on the bench for example, while Callum Wright comes into the squad from last year's bench, just to give us a bit more familiarity, and the same in the goalkeeping area. Grant Smith starts for now, and then we'll gradually work Hart in over the next month or so. But on the wings and at right back, we've got to get the new players in. David Parkhouse is going to get a run out too. I've still not decided if Presley will start ahead of him yet, so you'll find out what will happen with those two on Friday. But as always, let me know down in the comments, what do you think of the transfer window? Let me know about the couple who may join the club as well. I think it's been a really strong summer, particularly if we get those 2 more loan signings in. Just add that bit of quality alongside. You can see Fabio Lopez has joined again on loan for a year. He's just going to be our backup right winger this season. Good enough to do that job at this level. We're only paying him 70 quid a week in wages as well, so it's too good to say no for a backup player, and that's why he's staying at the club for now. He'll do a job for us and he won't have to play many games. But if you did enjoy this episode and a transfer special ahead of the new season, please do put a thumbs up on the video. It really does make such a difference, and I can't thank you enough for your support, and I hope you're looking forward to this season as much as me. I really think we can push on and challenge for the playoffs. If we go and have a look at the media predictions for the year, you can see they expect us to finish in the top half. 12th place, 10 to 1 to get promoted, but it's all very tight in that top half there. The likes of Bolton have been relegated. They're going to be pretty unpredictable, going to be largely dependent on finances, I'd expect, and the 2 that are predicted to go down are miles clear of the rest, so hopefully we won't have any danger at that end. It still remains the most important objective. Make sure we stay up this season, and fingers crossed we can do a lot more than that, and then the board will be able to support us too. I haven't actually looked to see what the club vision is this year. Of course, we finished ahead of schedule by nicking 12th last season, so let's see what they want. They want us to finish in the top half. That's very bold. It's all they want for the next 5 years. They're not expecting anything more, but we're really going to have to deliver this season, just our second year as a professional club. As I go through the plugs at the end, I'll take you through the finances and dynamics screen, so just so you can see where we stand at the moment. As I do that, subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 content from my 2 long-term stories. This one with Dorking will be back on Friday, the head coach will be back on Thursday this week, and then they'll rotate each day for the rest of the year. No more interruptions after the New Year period. Tomorrow will be a channel update though. We'll review 2019 and look ahead to the content in 2020, and as I said, hopefully it'll be the debut of the webcam, but I won't promise that just yet. The finances don't look too disastrous, and the dressing room atmosphere is very good as well. Not bad for a new side with a high turnover of playing staff. I think it could be a strong season once they get settled. Fabio Lopez, a team leader down there actually. Good job we didn't let him go in the end. Jay Gallagher's influence is just starting to drop. He's unfortunately not featured in the first team much, but a few of the others like Kieran Jones, the centre half, improving. He's now vice captain for the season ahead. But a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support of the series as always. I really do appreciate it. As I mentioned, if you do want to see more of my content, I'm also part of a podcast that does matchday vlogs and interviews. The link to the matchday vlogs are in the eye above, so if you're a fan of lower league football, it's certainly worth checking out. But I hope to see you next time for another important episode with Dorking as we play our first game of the season against Salford, and hopefully we'll then have some good transfer news as well and be able to get on a good run in this League 2 season.